Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
And I'm Ricky. Today we're reviewing Ingenious from Cosmos Games.
Ingenious has been around for quite some time, although this is the newest printing from Cosmos Games. This is the newest printing of the game. It's designed by Reina Knizia, and it is a tile-laying game. The general idea of the game is that you are placing tiles onto this board. You're going to take a tile from your little display over here. You have your display over here, which just fell down. We're going to ignore that. You're going to grab a tile from this display, and you're going to put it down on the board, and you're trying to score the colors on those tiles. So let's actually grab a simpler one, not the double blue. Let's try to go with one of these. This is actually a great tile to place down, and we're going to go ahead and place it down over here. And the reason we do that is when we slot it down over here, we're going to look at each of the sides and score those colors. So for example, purple, go ahead, show me a better way. Is that better? It might be. It might be better for purple. I don't know. But let's go out this way either way. Over here, we're going to go look at the purple, and we're going to look at all purple surrounding it. So, for example, 1, 2, 3, that's a single line of purple we're going to draw, which means we're going to take our purple over here and move it from 3 to 6. We're going to add 3 to it. Yep. Our orange, on the other hand, we're going to look in 2 different directions.
2, 3 also.
We have 3 orange. We have 1 in this direction and 2 in this direction. In other words, you're not scoring purely for adjacency, nor are you scoring purely for connected. You're scoring for drawing out straight lines from the center in all 6 directions around, well, 5 directions on the tile. You never count itself on the tile. So I'm going to move my orange up 3. Ricky, do you want to go ahead and place a tile?
It's 6 directions.
Preferably if you can place a double tile of the same color.
Okay.
If you could, just because that way we can show them how that works.
I can.
Go ahead. Let's go and place them down. She has a double green. It goes over there. And right about now, each side is going to score, but you're going to do it like this. This side over here is going to score 1, 2, 3, and this one's going to score 1 and then 2. Neither of these score for itself. You never look at the tile itself. You only ever look out in the 5 other directions around the tile.
5
that means 5 green for Ricky. Now, all of this is great, but why are we doing this? Congratulations. We've moved our trackers up here, and so what? What is the point? Ricky, what's the point?
The way you score, your score at the end of the game is your lowest pip.
Your lowest pip. Basically,
my score right now is 2.
Your score is 2, and ironically, my score is 1, and both of us, our lowest colors are blue, which makes sense because there's very little blue on the board. The way this is going to work is you're going to try to move your tiles up, your colors up, but it doesn't matter how high you go, your score is your lowest color, although if you have a tie for that, if Ricky and I both have our lowest score, bless you, if Ricky and I both have a lowest score of 5, we look at the next lowest one after that. So you still want some degree of pushing up.
So I have 7 and you have 6.
I already lost, Ricky. I already lost. Thanks for reminding me. Past that, there is one incentive to going up on the track, which is
getting past 18, which you then get to yell Ingenious and take another turn.
You get to take a bonus turn when you get to 18. So that means up to 6 bonus turns you'll get across the course, well, up to 5, because the 6th one would trigger endgame. There is a way the game ends early, which is if a player has gotten all of their colors to 18, they immediately win.
Very difficult.
I haven't seen it happen yet, but theoretically it can happen. I have not seen it happen. But that's basically Ingenious. There are a few other small modes of the game, but the core idea of the game is that. You're placing tiles down onto the board. You're going to be using the inner area at 2 players. This area gets added at 3 players, and this area gets added at 4 players. The goal is to place tiles down in order to create groupings of colors, in order to move up these tracks, and then at the end of each turn you draw another tile, so you can then go ahead and continue that cycle and just be the person who at the end of the game has basically won. One Ingenious, which apparently is Ricky.
And every single time I have lost because I went last.
Apparently it's not Ricky. Never mind. I take it back. Ricky's not winning.
I had nothing wrong with strategy. The only reason I lost was because I didn't have place to put anything.
It's horrible. It really is horrible.
Very annoying.
It's very frustrating.
Which is why next time we play, I am playing in the middle of it.
We might want to re-review this after that because right now she's fairly bitter at the game.
No, I like the game. It's great.
The game. Well, I guess let's go ahead and dive into it with that. With that statement that she likes the game, let's go ahead and talk about this, Ricky.
Just knowing that I've lost.
How do you feel about the game?
It's very fun. It's like a more adulty version of Best Trios Ever.
Interesting.
Kind of.
Why like Best Trios Ever?
Because you are trying to get colors grouped together, and you can lock off colors. In this game, you don't completely lock off the colors, but it goes from having a giant pool of colors to absolutely nothing and just completely closed off.
She's not wrong. You'll frequently have situations where the purple keeps getting expanded upon. You're like, oh, purple's over here, so you keep getting larger and larger groups of purple.
And but
then suddenly, someone sits there and puts a tile down. Let's get over here, for example. If I put down this orange, because I'm giving this orange, it starts connecting, it starts closing off other tile sections on the board. So you'll frequently will have a single color rising quickly. You'll have your blue at 1, and then suddenly you get like 15 points worth of red, and before you know it, that giant cluster of red is no longer able to be played to. So it does tend to happen throughout the course of the game.
Yep.
For me, I like the game for a few reasons. The game is a simple rule set. You can teach this game in like 4 minutes, get people up and running. There's quick playing turns. You just go round and round, placing a tile. Very rewarding turns too. Early game, not as much because, getting one doesn't feel that satisfying, especially if you've just played the game. But as you continue to play the game, you're suddenly going to place down a tile and you'll get, 6 of one color and 8 of another color, and that feels like a very satisfying moment. And so, simple rule set, quick playing time, quick turns, and just satisfying placements throughout the course of the game are the main reasons I like Ingenious, and then follow that with the mechanism of having your lowest color be the color that scores. That forces players to not just focus on, oh my gosh, I can get 17 green in one shot. Rather, it forces you to focus on making sure you're evenly distributed across the game. Even that bonus move you get is only helpful if you play something that helps your lowest color, if it helps clear your board to a degree. So overall, a simple, fast-playing, enjoyable experience. Anything you don't like about the game?
2 things. 1, the pips are ridiculously annoying to move.
They are a little stuck there.
And second of all, the board is completely flat because the pieces move around like this and all that stuff, and it's really annoying.
Oh no, we have to reset everything.
And it would be so easy to make a hexagonal board slotted.
Well, so I do think
at least it's like a little bit marked, at least.
So practically speaking, a double-layered
Othello.
board, a double-layered. Oh, Othello's fun. Yeah, that would work.
Like Othello, they'll work very well. Just have like tiny little lines.
So a double-layered player board would be a good improvement in terms of the fact that you knock things. It would add to the cost of the game, which is a factor, but it certainly is. I mean, her complaint about the fact that you do a single knock, you just hit this board at all, and suddenly you're trying to reset everything in a way that can be a little annoying, and even resetting it, push it a little bit too much the wrong direction, and suddenly you're trying to overcompensate in other directions. Anything else you don't like? Pass the player order, I guess. For me, my biggest thing that I don't love about Ingenious is I feel the sense of agency that I have, the sense of real choice over my turn isn't as present as I would like. It's fun, it's quick playing, it's quick turns, all those other things I said that are good, but more often than not, I have a tile in my hand that feels like, well, the right way to place this is to place it there. It's very often a bit of math, and then looking at your lowest colors, there are times where there's certainly more tactical plays, ways to play something to ensure that someone else can't build off the turn that you just had. If I have a turn that gets me 7 red and 8 orange, I don't want you to do the exact same thing that gets you 8 red and 9 orange in reverse. So there are ways to try to plan around that, but a lot of the time it comes down to place the thing in the fairly obvious place and then score as many as possible. So I wish there was a bit more agency or decision space around the game.
Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of I feel like there's like a starter tile pieces. Because the last time we played, it took me like 5 turns to get a single orange. So my orange was at 0 for a while in the game. So there should be like a starting hand, like not even completely started, but at least have at least one of each color in your hand.
Honestly, it does tend to happen that you get halfway through the game and you realize that your lowest color is blue, and that's fine. That's fine because you can take care of that if you draw blue. There are times, or there have certainly been times where the person who won the game came down to the fact that, my lowest color was a 6, Ricky's lowest color was a 7, but I couldn't draw any orange, and therefore my lowest color stayed a 6, and she was able to bump hers up. And that happens in the game sometimes. I guess over the course of the game, you will get colors, but when it comes down to like those end moves, sometimes you could be starved out of your lowest color.
Like another way to do it would be like have like if you don't have a single one of the color in your 6 tiles, like 3 turns in a row,
just reveal and discard.
Yeah, like you can discard a certain amount and then take back that amount to like get at least one of those colors.
Yeah, those could work. Ricky, any final thoughts on Ingenious?
No.
For me, final thoughts on Ingenious are, I think Ingenious is a fun game. I had this game way back. In fact, you don't necessarily know this, but one of the very first games I played when I got into board games was Ingenious. I looked into the game, and it seemed like a fun, simple game. It's a fairly cheap, it's always been a very cheap game, very affordable game to get my hands on. And so I played Ingenious. I really enjoyed it. It was fun to place down tiles, score a lot of points, and I thought it was fantastic. And I held on to it for years, and eventually I moved on from it because I kind of outgrew Ingenious, and I'm happy to have it back right now because I think it is a great family strategy game. I think it's very accessible, it's easy to play, it's the kind of thing Ricky can sit down and pull out with her friends and play. It's the kind of thing I'm happy to sit down with my kids and play. It's the kind of thing I'm happy to throw a movie on in the background and play it. It's a simple, accessible gateway or family game. So for me, the biggest fault is that it is on the lighter side, so that's just a factor that, as far as where I'm going to pull this out, this is definitely a game I'm going to be pulling out from a family perspective as opposed to my own personal game perspective, but from that perspective, I think is a solid game to have. So for me, it's a 3.5, a game that's been around for a while. My overall enjoyment from it is at that 3.5, but factored into the family equation aspect of things, one that I would recommend for families, for a gateway, for any of those kinds of conversations. Any rating on your end?
I think it's going to be like a 4 for me. because it's a really good game, but like not to the point where it's a 5 because like the few little things.
Yep.
Because like just too luckish to be a 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anyways, that's going to be Ingenious. As far as other game recommendations, I came prepared with one. I don't know if you have any. I came prepared with 2. Do you have any game recommendations? I guess best trios ever.
If you're really only playing this with your kids, yes.
Best trios ever?
Yes.
Yeah. And then for me, the game that this is most similar to, a game that you should probably actually play now that I'm thinking about, maybe I'll have to get my hands on it, a game that's very similar to Ingenious in the feel of the game is going to be Quirkle. Quirkle is going to be a game which you're placing down, and that's Quirkle, but Quirkle is going to have the, I think, maybe it's a W. It might be a W. Ignore what I said. Quirkle. Just type in Quirkle and see if it pops up.
Oh, I heard Court Girl.
Court girl.
I was so confused.
Quirkle. It might be QW now that
That
I think
makes
about it.
way more sense.
But either way, it's a game that's going to have a bunch of tiles, and your goal in that game is to place down these tiles in order to score as many points in different colors and patterns on the board. A very similar feel to Ingenious. If you like one, you'll probably like the other. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co.
And I'm Ricky.
And have a good one.